the college football experience. Navy Midshipmen at the Air Force Falcons game preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Navy Midshipmen at the Air Force Falcons game preview episode. My name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
You know, if you've been listening to this show for a long time, when it comes to Service Academy football, I'm on top of it because I love it. I think it's some of the greatest, it's a throwback. Look, it should be, more teams should be running the triple option, but it's just, to me, awesome. It is the epitome of college football. And I am joined to talk about this game. I get this guy on as often as I can when talking Falcon football. I am joined by I call him the Air Force Falcons football specialist. He also runs a page called The History of Air Force Football, which is on Twitter at History Falcon. Give it up for my guy Rick Baum. How you doing, Rick?
Man, Colby, I am so happy. You know what time of year it is, and that makes me smile.
There we go. I got some music for us. That's Iron Eagle music. We can represent the Air Force. We can represent the Navy. Top Gun 2 was fantastic. Look, I mean, this game is awesome. This is a game that has been happening for a long time. Air Force leads the series 32-22, and a lot of that has been recently. I don't know what happened. Navy was rolling there for a while. Now, Navy did go into Greenville, North Carolina, and beat my Pirates last week because ECU's kicker is terrible. But Navy got the dub, and Niumatalolo's hit a bit of a rough patch as far as the past couple of years, but he is a very good coach. I believe, I was listening to one pod earlier this offseason, said he should be on the hot seat. Are they absolutely crazy? This guy's won a lot of games for them, and don't worry, he will get back to making bowls and being competitive in their conference in time, maybe this year, maybe later this year. They already beat ECU. They're 1-0 in conference. This is an out-of-conference game, but like I mentioned, Troy Calhoun has got this team rolling, and especially in this series. If you pull up the history on this series, it has been all Air Force for the most part recently. Yes, I mean, I think the past 4 matchups, Navy's only won 1, but these have been some ugly scores too. I mean, last year Air Force in Annapolis won 23-3. They won 40-7 in 2020, the COVID year. Then Navy won in 19, 34-25 in Annapolis. And then in 18 in Colorado Springs, it was 35-7. I mean, I guess I don't want to just get into it. I know we're going to talk about both teams' offenses and what we should expect, but why have normally these Service Academy games are close, whether it's Army, Air Force, whether it's Army, Navy. If you pull back the curtain and look at some of the other previous scores prior to the last 5 years, they were close. What has happened in the past 5 years that make these games such lopsided scores?
I'll tell you what, I would call it most recently, and I'm talking, the last 2 years. You mentioned 63-10 total score, and I attribute that to the Malcolm Perry hangover. Probably one of the best quarterbacks this in the modern era that Navy has had, and since he left, it's been try plug and play and find some athletes on that side, and they're still working at finding a solution.
Yeah, and Tai Lavatai is the quarterback this year. He played better in that East Carolina game, and he's just a junior. Last year he was a sophomore. So with more experience comes better production at the quarterback spot, especially in these option offenses. But you make a great point there. Without Malcolm Perry, who was pretty much the best quarterback since Roger Staubach at the University of Navy. Well, I mean, I don't know. I like Air Force. Walk me through their season so far. Obviously, they out the gate they whooped Northern Iowa more than I thought they would. They whooped the Colorado Buffaloes more than I thought they would. I thought they would win both those games. I just didn't think they'd win in the fashion that they did. Then they go to Laramie in a game that I was on the right side of. I know you listened to our preview, and you probably sent me a text telling me that I'm no longer welcome in Colorado Springs because I took the Wyoming Cowboys. But what happened there?
Well, I attribute that to a couple things. First and foremost, Laramie, Wyoming is our kryptonite. We had not won there since 2012. Also, it was the perfect storm, right? We had a big week against the big brother, University of Colorado. Unfortunately, it was cold, wet, and rainy. And, 3-4 days later, at least 40% of our roster was down with a virus, and we fought through that the entire week. We put a team on the field in Laramie that is not the team that you saw the following week, last week against the Wolfpack. So I attribute it to one of those things that happens in a season, hopefully not more than once. And, we don't have to go there for 2 months.
Yeah, there you go. Right. And last week, as much as I love Air Force football. I've been a fan since, Fisher to Berry, Bo Morgan, Blaine Morgan, those guys. But last week, we played DFS over here, and I had Haaziq Daniels, and he comes out for like one play in that game. And the backup quarterback, who I'm drawing a blank on his name right now,
Ben Britton, actually number 3.
Ben Britton. Yes, he throws an 80-yard touchdown. The one play my guy is out. I played Daniels in DFS, and I mean, it just made me incredibly frustrated that Daniels came out that one play, and then this guy Ben Britton just fires a bullet to what
Cormier.
I think Cormier, and just an 80-yard touchdown made me very frustrated as far as the fantasy football lineup goes, but. You guys look fantastic against the Nevada Wolfpack. You skunked them. That was not even a game. And now, so you're 3-1. And now you are hosting the Navy Midshipmen. Let's just talk about the team for a second here. Haaziq Daniels, Ben Britton, obviously 1 for 1, 80 yards and a touchdown. So you feel pretty good if Daniels gets dinged up, rolling with Britton?
Ben is kind of our passing threat. The guy that runs the offense actually at number 2 is a guy by the name of Jensen Jones. You will probably see some version next year of the two of them. They make one heck of an option. The reason Daniels did not make that pass is he got a stinger the previous series, and he stepped out, and they called it, and old Ben Britton hadn't thrown a pass since COVID years, so it was a pretty cool sight.
That quarterback rating is at 1,102. 1 for 1, 80 yards and a score. All right, if I was him, you might want to consider never playing ever again.
Well, we don't do the transfer portal, so we're safe in that respect.
There you go. You also have John Riggins 2.0 in Brad Roberts, who was one of my favorite guys to watch. This guy is an absolute beast. 68 carries, 465 yards, getting 7 yards of carries, 7 touchdowns. Between him and I'll be honest, I didn't know, and I'm sure you did. But okay, we knew about Brad Roberts. We knew he was very good coming into the season. I was not as hip on John Lee Eldridge III. Can you tell me about him? Because that guy is averaging 10.2 yards a carry, and it's not just on 3 carries, it's on 37 carries. This guy's electric when he touches the ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, in our 2.0, he was the guy that I highlighted. I saw it coming, of course, being around this team like I am. John Lee Eldridge III is special. He's a junior. You're going to see him going forward. This is our version of Thunder and Lightning, right? So you've got John Lee at 5'9", just a shade under 200 pounds, bowling ball, can cut on a dime, 4.39 speed. He just a compliment to what Brad does in the middle. And I'm telling you, going forward the rest of this season, danger is on the horizon if you are the opponent.
Yeah, and if people watch Army, maybe they're tuning into this game, trying to get a scouting report on Air Force or Navy. Army's got a guy named Tyrell Robinson who's really good. Eldridge reminds me of him in a way. I mean, I think Eldridge might be, just they jump off screen when you see them. So keep an eye on John Lee Eldridge the third. This rush attack is dynamic with Roberts, Eldridge, and then don't forget Daniels still solid at running the ball as well. Talk to me about the air attack. I know, only 12 completions on the season, but you don't need to, because when your run game's that dominant, Cormier is what, the top leading receiver by a yard over Dane Kinnaman. Is it Kinnaman? Okay.
Yeah. Dane's dad is a former Air Force Falcon, so there's a little bit of legacy there.
Well, that's fantastic. That's absolutely awesome. Kyle Patterson's the tight end that I've known over the years to be a stud. It's kind of been a little quiet. 3 for 32. I mean, is this someone that could emerge, you think, maybe in this game?
Well, I hope so, Colby. They've been doubling on him, which has been okay because we always end up pounding the rock. I think going forward, though, he has to be part of this. Cormier is our guy that you'll see the over the top, kind of like Navy did to ECU. And then you'll see Dane Kinnaman kind of in betweener. He also runs the ball. Got Ben Jefferson who complements him at that position. But yeah, definitely Kyle Patterson is somebody that I believe could be a key to some success.
Yeah, and I can tell you another key to success is Matthew DePore. That guy is a beast. The kicker, yes, the kicker for the Air Force Falcons. He's perfect on extra points. He's also 6 of 7 on field goals, and he's 2 of 3 from 50 plus, including a 54-yarder. If it's a close game, I think that even though Navy's kickers kicked well in that ECU game, which late in that game when they needed to. If anything, ECU was the one that couldn't convert kicks. But I got to think the kicking edge resides with the Air Force Falcons. How about defensively? Have they been, kind of what you thought they would be? Has there been some players emerge that maybe you didn't think? Are there just talk to me about the Air Force defense this season and what you make of them so far?
Well, I'll tell you, they've had some challenges. They, we talked about in our 2.0 how the defensive line was probably the biggest question mark. Chris Herrera Sr. has done his job. He's always funneling the plays back to the linebackers, which, is the strength of this team. Trey Taylor, stud. Camby Goff, stud. These guys are going to be first teamers most likely in our conference. The thing that I've noticed most recently is, in the heart of this lineup, we've got, that linebacker crew is crazy. Alec Mock, we got Bo Richter who will play on the line and he'll drop back in certain coverages. Vince Sanford, TD Blackman, and our cornerbacks are improving game by game.
And I think a lot of the question marks coming into the year, Air Force was replacing their defensive coordinator who headed out. They had a top 10 defense a season ago, and he headed out to Charlottesville, Virginia, to be with Tony Elliott's staff and be the defensive coordinator of the Wahoos. He's actually done a great job at UVA despite their struggles. Their struggles have been on the offensive side of the ball, but Air Force is they really haven't missed a beat. They're 19th in the country right now defensively. Maybe a slight drop off considering they were top 10 a year ago, but still you're a top 20 defense. That's what you want to be. I am intrigued to see this matchup and how they can limit, because I can tell you this, traditionally in a lot of these service academy matchups, I love the team getting points, and just because your advantage a lot of times from running the triple option is other teams don't get to practice against it every day. Well, Navy does, but in these matchups, it's when I was doing my homework here, I'm like, wow, like they've dominated this series really lately. Now, looking at the midshipmen, obviously Lavatai is more experienced, and I think one of the best things so far is he hasn't thrown interceptions. Now they did have, I watched that Delaware game in the season opener. I was actually on Delaware with the points. I wasn't thinking. I mean, actually, I said it was they were capable of winning because Delaware is really good in the FCS, but they were fumbling the ball left and right. If you watch that game, Navy was just, they could not execute with the option. They didn't turn the ball over much last week, and I feel like it was improved in the second game, the Memphis game. So Lavatai seems to be improving. He's completing 13 yards a completion pretty much, and kind of taking a little more shots than traditionally thus far. The run game, though, it's kind of a running back by committee going on here. Their leading rusher is Maquel Haywood. They have a couple fullbacks, Anton Hall Jr. and Daba Fofana, that they've gotten 39 carries each. So I think maybe, and even their other fullback, Logan Point, they're kind of going by running back by committee here. There's no Brad Roberts. There's no John Lee Eldridge here. So it will be interesting. I will say this, though, in the receiving game, Vincent Terrell Jr. has been a beast for them. 4 for 147, 37 yards, a grab. I mean, so they do have a home run threat there. I alluded to the kicking game. Daniel Davies, 3 for 3. So doing a solid job there. I still think the kicking game advantage resides with the Air Force Falcons. And defensively for the Navy Midshipmen, I think one of their top guys has been John Marshall, their linebacker. Leads the team in tackles. He got 2 sacks, pass deflection. The linebacking core for the Midshipmen have been somewhat serviceable. I think their biggest concerns are probably on the D line. But as far as the linebacking core, I think it's probably the strength of that defense with Marshall, with Colin Ramos, and Gibbons and Straw, the other linebackers. Tell me what you fear. Like, what is something that you would say we gotta stop this from Navy to win this game?
I go back to what we were talking about before with the defensive line. I think we're going to see something that we don't typically see at the Air Force Academy. We've got a sophomore in the middle. His name is Peyton Zadroik, another guy whose dad, Dan, played for the Falcons. Peyton is just a sophomore, and he's built like a double wide, right? He's come in there, got a couple sacks, plugged up the middle. He's going to be a key to slowing things down. If they go through the line like a Wyoming did, it's going to be a long day. We got another youngster at strong safety, Jaden Goodwin. Jaden will be up there supporting the run. We're gonna bring people up just like everybody does, and then of course be conscious of the over the top because we both run it. Yeah.
It's going to be a great game. Before we get to predictions and talking over under, folks, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by promoguide.us. Promoguide.us is the best place to go if you're interested in plus EV betting strategies. So go to promoguide.us and check out their 100% track, transparent, and proven method for betting smarter. So make sure you check out promoguide.us. We're also brought to you by No House Advantage. No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. You can play in pick'em contests versus other people for a shot at winning $250,000 in cash. Yes, download the app, sign up now with the promo code SGPN at nohouseadvantage.com, or download the app to get a first deposit match up to $25. We're also brought to you by Babbel. If you're a bozo like me, which, I know a lot of people out there, come on. If you're like me and there's a foreign language that maybe you regret not learning in school, see how they put not learning? Maybe you didn't take the class, or maybe you took the class and just weren't paying attention like me. Well, it's never too late to start with Babbel. Babbel is the language learning app that's sold more than 10 million subscriptions. And what's great about it is for people, once again, like myself, I would end up catching a lot of good naps in Spanish class, say 11th grade. Well, part of that was the block scheduling. Yeah, I don't need 2 hours of Spanish. That's overload. Well, what's great about Babbel, 10-minute lessons. All right. 10-minute lessons. All right. I mean, that thing right there, you sold me. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 150 language experts, and they're voiced by real native speakers, not computers. Take your T1000 and get out of here. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective, and there's more than just Spanish, folks. This is 14 different languages: Spanish, French, Italian, German. You got to check it out. Start a new language, today with Babbel. All right. Right now, get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/SGP. That's BABBEL.com/SGP for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, it's language for life. We're also brought to you by Odds Trader. Odds Trader is a place to compare odds from all the major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promo codes from sportsbook to sportsbook to assure that you get yourself the best deal possible. So go to oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. Odds Trader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. All right, we are back talking classic football. Cannot wait to watch this one. Let me ask you about this one though. I pulled up the weather for Colorado Springs. It seems like we might have a bit of a monsoon. Look, I know there's a hurricane just attacking the southeast part of this country that we reside in. But it seems like old Colorado Springs, I know that you played the Buffs in some weather. It seems like you're going to get some weather, some good old fashioned. Do I need to queue up the old Charlie Jones Notre Dame call?
And the weather here today at Notre Dame Stadium, in a word, it is cold, but it is football weather. The temperature 37 degrees, humidity 79%. Forecast cloudy, put light rain later on.
Light rain later on. So look, maybe light rain, maybe heavy rain. What are you hearing about this?
Yeah, it's going to be wet. We're looking at upwards of 70% chance of precipitation. On turf, in the rain. It's not like it's going to keep our passing offenses under 300 yards or anything.
I like it in the rain,
Smash
man.
mouth.
I want to watch it more when it's in the rain. All right.
Yeah.
This is football. All right. This is football weather. I know you're going to be at the game, so it's a bit different for you, but just get a raincoat, get some hot chocolate, maybe throw some whiskey in that thing and you'll be fine. All right.
Of course.
Now I'm looking at this over under, and I feel like the whole world is looking, it's been a thing in college sports. I feel like for the past decade, when service academy teams play each other, you bet the under. I'm wondering, because their record, I should have pulled it up for this episode. I do not have it on hand, but it's something unbelievable. Like the under hits every single time. Almost. It's like it's batting like 93% or something. This one is at 38. It opened, I think, a little higher than this. It's come down to 38. With the rain, if you're an Air Force fan, I know you're gonna in our next segment you're gonna try to take Air Force, I would imagine. But if you were to take the over or under on 38, what would you do?
Well, I'd look at what you were talking about with the weather. On a dry day, I would be very tempted to take the over. However, if we have similar conditions that we did in week 2, I'm thinking that 93 might go to 94%.
Yeah, and if you're looking like, okay, last year was 23-3, Air Force won Indianapolis, so it would have cashed there. The year before though, 40-7. The year before that, 45-20, or I'm sorry, 34-25. So that would have hit the over. The year before that, 35-7 would have hit the over. The year before that, 48-45 would have hit the over. But yet at the same time, because we're taking a large sample size of Army Navy games, Air Force Army games, and then Navy Air Force games, it is still that's probably the only times the overs are hitting. They're the ones I just recited there. I lean under again at 38. Like you said, the weather playing a factor. I wonder if that will also hurt the field goal. Both kickers have been pretty good this season, but I wonder if that could potentially hurt the kicking game.
You know, Matt DePore kicked a 50+ yarder in the last monsoon we had.
Oh, well, I'm a leg up once again. I said Air Force has got the kicking edge. All right. They got the altitude too. The altitude, you might be able to really hammer the hell out of the ball there. All right. Well, look, let's get to the spread here. Let's forecast what's going to happen, but I do have to get us paid just one more time. I want to tell you that the College Football Experience Navy Air Force game preview episode is brought to you by the Elias Game Plan app. Yes, folks, Elias Game Plan. This is the official statisticians of U.S. pro sports leagues. They have their own app now. And let me tell you, if you're into the NFL, right, whether you're into fantasy leagues or betting on your team or just talking highlights around the water cooler at work, the NFL season just got a lot better thanks to the Elias Game Plan app. You should get this thing if you're an NFL guy, because look, league validated team and player news and stats. They'll help you build your fantasy football lineup. They'll give you key insight as far as head-to-head team comparisons ahead of your matchups. A lot of times you only get like that week. You can go look at like week 16's matchups and say, oh, how are we going to fare against this team? I can't recommend it enough. So elevate your NFL season today and download the Elias Game Plan app. That's ELIAS. And right now I have a special offer for when you do subscribe. Get 15% off your annual subscription, but only if you use the promo code SGPN15. Find the Elias Game Plan sports betting app in the App Store or Google Play Store and use that promo code SGPN15. We're also brought to you by Fubo TV. If you watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you complete coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone plus games in 4K at no extra charge. And they give you can watch all your games, all your favorite TV shows, because they give you included cloud-based DVR. There's no contract. There's no commitment. Right now, you can try Fubo TV for free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month. Just go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FUBOTV.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by Sling. Yeah, Sling TV. It's college football season, which means you need the unbeatable coverage of Sling TV starting at $35 a month. Sling has all the biggest names on the biggest channels like ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, SEC Network, ACC Network, Fox, and the Big Ten Network, all for the best price. You can stream it on any device, record up to 50 hours with included DVR space. You could pause or change your service at any time. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the live TV you love for a price you'll love. Try us today. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're back talking Air Force Navy football, and it is crazy that I have to read a Sling TV next to a Fubo TV ad. It's much like, I feel like that is a sample right there, perhaps of what Navy, a good metaphor for Navy Air Force right there. Look, I know you're an Air Force guy. The line is currently at, as I double check to see if anything has changed in the past 3 minutes, Navy is catching 14. At one point, this was at 15. That's when I placed my wager, but it is at 14 right now. Plus 450 on the money line for Navy. I already mentioned the over under. I know you're going to take Air Force to win, but 14 points right now. Do you think they can successfully lay the 14 against the Midshipmen again? Because last year this would have covered.
Yeah, that's the big question, right? Everything that we do, and I haven't mentioned it yet, is through that Bolt Diesel offensive line. I think this is an opportunity where they get to impose their will. We've got a guy by the name of Everett Smalley. He'll run roughshod leading these these great backs that we have. I'm thinking, just off the top of my head, 27-10, Air Force Falcons.
And basically referring to that offense. What do you call that? Bolt
Diesel
offense?
Diesel. That is. We got trucker hats. We got trucker mentality. Go to work, lunch pail.
I love it. And that offensive line is going to do this.
What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you.
There we go. Bolt
Diesel.
I need a shirt.
We'll get you one.
I'm taking the I'm going to take the points though, because in the rain, I think Air Force wins this football game. All right. That's what you really want me to say. All right. It's what you really want to hear. Air Force is going to win this game. They are going to win this game. However, 14 points. Like I said, I placed a bet at 15. I'm taking the points. I think in the rain, in the muck, give me a 21-13 final. Air Force gets it done. But I'll tell you this, if you're a Navy Midshipmen fan listening to this, and if you believe, like, to me, what is the perfect recipe to knock off your rivals here, the Air Force Falcons? It would be, well, first you would want it in Annapolis. Well, you're not afforded that luxury. This is in Colorado Springs. But I think knowing how good Calhoun has this Falcons team going, if I were a Navy fan, I would say, I hope it rains a lot. Just saying. So maybe if you're a Navy fan, you sprinkle a little bit on that plus 450. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think Air Force is going to win the game, but I do think if it's going to rain, that helps Navy a little bit. That's why I'm taking the 15 points. Rick, I appreciate you hopping on the show. Everyone, make sure you follow Rick on Twitter at Falcon8Fan, and also check out the history of Air Force football. Come on, what's not to like about the history of Air Force football? I mean, they are, to me, all these service academies are the epitome of what's great about college football. And I do worry, as a guy that covers college football and college basketball, when they talk about the potential Power Five, perhaps splitting away from the Group of Five. I don't want that. I want everyone to go as one if that's going to happen. And I worry about, the future of these programs playing. I like it when Air Force plays, a Notre Dame. Remember they beat them in the late 90s. I like it when Navy plays Notre Dame or an Army is playing at Michigan or whatever. So I would encourage anyone listening to this, if you're a college football fan, just you tuned in to hear the capping advice, get some game intel. But I would encourage you to watch this game, because what's great is if these games chart well, that means that the networks would not want to get away from that much. So please, folks, go out there, support football, and support. This is, to me, the epitome of college football. This is I think I'd rather watch these games than a lot of the high profile matchups that are quote unquote the best rated games. Get out there, support football, and support these guys that are giving it their all, because as Rick will tell you, I'm sure when they graduate, yes, some can go to the NFL, but the other ones are going all around the world to help give us this freedom. So I could just be an idiot and talking to a microphone. You know what I mean? And I just think that's absolutely fantastic. And also shout out to my guy Terrell Furman Jr., who hosts the NBA Gambling Podcast here on our network, who is in the Air Force currently. So, Rick, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Well, I want to also take care of the hand that feeds me. I'd like to mention we've got some big things going on at the Air Force Academy. Specifically, we're talking football right now. We've got a huge stadium renovation that's going to start in November of this year, and it's going to run through next year. We made an announcement a week and a half ago that we are going to have the Army game in 2023 at Empower Field at Mile High. That's going to be a big deal. We've got an event this year in Dallas at Ranger Stadium for Army also. We're taking this game, these military games, and we're doing exactly what you said. We're putting it in the forefront. We're letting college football fans and true Americans see who's defending them going forward.
Yeah, we saw what Army Navy did, like almost, I feel like 11 million views, which last season, which is great. And I want to continue that momentum going to that, because it's not just the Georgias and Alabamas that make college football great. It is much bigger than that. And I would be disgusted. You would hear me complaining. If people think I complain about the lack of playoffs, 4 teams is ridiculous, which you'll hear me complain about that for a long time. That's a small sample size. If we separate and do not give the opportunity for these great service academies and great group of 5 teams to play the big boys, I will have a large problem with that. And you will hear me whining and whining and whining. You'll probably unsubscribe, but guess what? I don't care. Let's go. I can't wait for this game. Folks, I appreciate you. If you can, subscribe to the College Football Experience. Also, like I said, give Rick a follow on Twitter. Check out History of Air Force Football. Some great history there. Remember, Bill Parcells used to coach the Air Force Falcons. Didn't know that, did you? All right, go learn a little bit about Air Force football, or any of the service academies, really. But yes, especially Air Force, because that's Rick's thing. Folks, also check out the College Basketball Experience. I know the Air Force Falcons open up their season November 7th at the Bowling Green Falcons. A little Falcon on Falcon action. You got to win that one. You got to win that one because there's only one real Falcon team out there. Anyway, subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. We're previewing teams already over there. Subscribe to the subscribe on YouTube. The College Basketball Experience and the College Football Experience come together as one on YouTube. YouTube.com/the College Experience. Also check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. And what else? It's NFL season right now. NFL Gambling Podcast. MLB Gambling Podcast, as that season continues to heat up towards the postseason.
Get your shirt too. I cannot stress enough. Get your shirt. I took a picture with mine with the steam locomotive this year, and it's the coolest, most well-fitting shirt in the game. I
appreciate you, brother. Yes, the College Football Experience t-shirt. It is out there. Go to the SGPN merch store, folks. We even and Rick, I'm gonna have to get you one, because now we added this new one based on the cities. So campus edition. Go out there, whatever your team is, and get it. And we'll work on. I gotta double check if we have Colorado Springs or Annapolis, but if we don't, we will get that. There's very, very shortly. Check it out, folks. Please help support us. We do this for free. So I mean, it's just a download and listen. Boom. All right. Help us help you. Folks, appreciate you tuning in. Check out the Discord channel too, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. And can't wait to watch this one Saturday. Can't wait to have you back on the show. I know you got the Army matchup later on, and there's probably some big other Mountain West games that we'll have you back for, Rick. This is the College Football Experience. Navy Midshipmen at Air Force Falcon style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Thank you. Well, that's a great way to get started.
And the weather here today at Notre Dame Stadium, in a word, it is cold, but it is football weather. The temperature 37 degrees, humidity 79%. Forecast cloudy for light rain.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
At the Olympics, doesn't matter who wins because they're all losers.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
The Redskins want a new stadium. The owner, Jack Kent Cook, and he wants it indoor. I heard an indoor stadium. The Redskins cannot play indoors.
Well, I know that.
It's Division I football. It's a Big 12.
Get my limousine. Ride on 85. Get my little jet. Woo! And take off.
Coaching, coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job.